A final from Boston, where it's not a final for the Celtics season. The season continues for the Boston Celtics, 110-97. They improved to 7-0 in elimination games against the Eastern Conference over the past two postseasons, 4-0 this postseason. Gabe Vincent was out for the Miami Heat in Game 5 and certainly feeling the effects, averaging 17.5 points per game in this series. And Duncan Robinson is your leading scorer. That's a problem for the Miami Heat. Look at the Boston Celtics, 4 of their 5 starters. Derek White, 24 points on 6 of 8 from beyond the arc. Marcus Smart, 23 points, 5 steals. Tatum and Brown combined for 42. That's Jaylen Brown's first 20-point game since Game 1. But really, this box score is not going to tell the story of the game. It was about defensive identity. The Celtics scored 27 points off of 16 Miami turnovers. They had 13 steals in this game. Let me get that steal. Let me get that bucket. They found their defensive identity. That's what Joe Mazzulla said in this game. That's what he said. Said to the reporter, we found our defensive identity. If they find 2 more wins, they're going to do the improbable. Oh, my. And for more, welcome in CBS Sports NBA insider Bill Reiter. Bill, the story of Game 5, the turnovers. My goodness, again, 27 points off of 16 Miami turnovers. The Celtics had 13 steals. Are you kidding me?
Akeem, this is why I love coming on with you, because you get it. I was sitting here waiting to talk to you, and I was looking at the box score, and you said what I was thinking, which is the box score doesn't tell the whole story, because box scores often lie. We can talk about the offensive production of the Celtics. They got depth from a bunch of guys, multiple players with 20 or more. You said it, though. This team's defense, and they were extraordinary defensively in the regular season. They've been mediocre at best in this postseason until these last couple of games. That is the story of the day. And if they're going to do, as you said, the improbable and win the next 2 games, it'll be with the defensive effort we saw in this game and in the last game. Those 13 steals, points off turnovers. They're rebounding, not just numbers, but the energy and the effort with which they attacked loose balls, open balls, rebounds. This was the Celtics team from the regular season that went for every ball, that was defensively excellent. And if they can be that team, they can do the improbable, and they can compete against a team like Denver if they can get there.
Yeah, and they really set the tone in the first 5 minutes of the game, right? Miami had 4 turnovers in the first 5 minutes. Boston started the game on a 15-5 run. It stretched to 20-5. They set the tone in the first quarter. They were up by 15 at the end of 1. Their lead grew as large as 24 in this game. And you look at the role players, right? We expect Jason Tatum to be productive. We expect Jaylen Brown to be productive, even though he had his first 20-point game since Game 1 of this series. But you look at Derek White, you look at Marcus Smart. Derek White, 24 points, 6 of 8 from beyond the arc. And Marcus Smart, 23 points, 5 steals.
Yeah, I mean, this was a complete Celtics performance. And I was actually thinking about that Lakers game where LeBron went off for whatever it was, Akeem, 31, I think, points in the first quarter. He basically gave everything he had and needed his team to respond. They didn't. Now, Jason Tatum didn't have 31 points in the first half or 20, whatever, in the first quarter. But Tatum had, if I remember correctly, I think it was 12 points, Akeem, in the first quarter. He helped set the stage. He was offensively excellent at the beginning, and his team rallied defensively, as we discussed, and those role players like you just talked about. The Celtics players hit 3-point shots. A bevy of guys came up with buckets throughout the game. You're right. The Celtics set the tone. They punched the Heat in the face. The Heat couldn't respond. And the rest of the game, from the moment that Tatum really sort of set the stage and the entire team set the stage defensively, the entire rest of the way, this was a Heat team that was on its heels, and at least for one game, and there's more basketball to be played. Let's not say the series is over in either direction, but for one game, this is sort of what we expected when this Eastern Conference Finals began. The Celtics were just markedly better than the team they're playing in the Miami Heat.
So they're up 3-0, the Miami Heat, and now it's a 3-2 series. The Celtics winning the last 2 games. So my question, even if you're a Celtics, where the bleep were they the first 3 games, Bill? Like, what has all of a sudden switched? What has changed in these last 2 games compared to the first 3 for Boston?
Look, Akeem, I think this has been the story of the Celtics for the whole season. This was the MO on them around the NBA. I mean, they were by far the best team in the Eastern Conference, but didn't win the most games. And in their playoff runs, even though they're here in the Eastern Conference Finals, they would be lackadaisical. They'd be insouciant. They'd play with their food. Even against Philly, and in that series, it felt pretty certain, at least to me, when Boston got down 3-2, they were going to come back and felt like they were going to win that series for a lot of reasons. But they just didn't put the effort until their back was against the wall, and they've done it here against the Miami Heat. And there's no guarantee that they're going to win the next two, right? The old hare and the turtle, right? That fable is about the fact that you're not supposed to do this. And in that story, right, the hare sleeps too long and the turtle barely beats him. Maybe the Celtics have woke up in time. Maybe they'll finish the race and they'll win. I don't know. But they just have a weird arrogance, laid backness, whatever it is, Akeem, where they don't really put in their best effort until they're in trouble. Maybe you can do that against the Miami Heat. We're going to find out. You certainly can't do it against the Denver Nuggets if you even make it to the finals. It has been a personality flaw for this team. It may go to the fact their coach is a rookie 34-year-old. They've gotten away with it so far, and the story of this series will be whether they can get away with it again.
Well, they said don't let us get one, don't let us get two. Heck, don't let us get three, because if they get three, this is over. If this goes to 7, Bill, I mean, Celtics are going to do the improbable here. I mean, 150 teams have tried. None have succeeded. 0-150 all time when trailing 0-3. Are they going to take a page out of the Boston Red Sox history in 2004 when they were down 0-3 and they came back to win the ALCS and then went on to win the World Series? Is this going to happen, Bill? Are we going to see something we've never seen in NBA history?
It is certainly possible. Even when they were down 3-0, I thought they would lose, but I thought if a team was going to come back, it would be this Celtics team. And I'm not writing the Heat off, and I'm not disrespecting Miami. But the reason that teams tend to get down 3-0, those 150 times, usually, Akeem, it's because the team that is down 3-0 is the worst basketball team. That is not the case here. We know on paper the better basketball team is the Boston Celtics. They're the team that's down 3-0. So that's a difference between them and the tide of history that they're trying to compete against. It's also true, and again, I'm not disrespecting the Miami Heat. I think they're exceptional, but they came out of the play-in. They barely got in. They've been extraordinary. Jimmy Butler has to carry most of their offense. Now there's no Tyler Hero. That's been true for a while. Gabe Vincent missing this game. That is significant. So there hasn't been depth offensively for the Heat anyway. They were a bottom 4 defense in the NBA in the regular season, and Butler's carried them. He can carry them, we know, to 8 wins. He's carried them to 11 wins. You got to win 12 games to get to a finals and 16 to win the whole thing. It may be too heavy a load for Jimmy Butler to do alone. So that's a significant factor. And then you and I have just talked about the fact that Boston has played with its food, has just been laid back in games, in playoff series this year. Put all that together, and it is a recipe for what a team would look like if they would be the first to come back from 3-0 down.
Yeah, this would be absolutely bonkers for Boston if, in fact, this happens. But there's certainly a chance that it could happen now, because we've known throughout the series that Boston is the better team. Now they're playing like the better team. You mentioned Gabe Vincent. He is hopeful to play in Game 6. Will that matter in Game 6 in Miami? I mean, you want to talk about big-time pressure, Bill. This is big-time pressure on Eric Spoelstra, because we've already said this is his best coaching job of his 15 years as a head coach. If he can't finish the deal, this is not going to be good for what he has been able to get to this point. If you blow a 3, I mean, we're talking about Warriors down, they're up 3-1 and LeBron. That's the same conversation here. You do not want to be in that conversation.
You don't, and he will get killed, and I think it will be unfair, Akeem. It reminds me of and I don't want to, LeBron or Jordan, whoever you pick is fine. They're both extraordinary. But people will criticize LeBron for making finals early in his career and not winning them. And to me, it's, hey, there's an accomplishment in getting there. It's an accomplishment. It is that Eric Spoelstra got up 3-0 on the Boston Celtics. He doesn't have a top 25 offense. He's missing key players on this team. And the fact that he made the conference finals was shocking. And the fact that he got up 3-0 against Boston was shocking. But the Celtics are not just the most talented team in this series. They are the most talented team in the NBA this year. It doesn't mean they're going to win the whole thing. It doesn't mean they're going to win this series. So you're right. Eric Spoelstra is going to get absolutely criticized. I just think it'll be the same short-sightedness that often happens in NBA conversations. And you're not supposed to blow a 3-0 series lead. I get it. But there's a reason we were all astounded that Miami won the first 2 games in Boston and then got that first game at home in Miami, because they're not the talent difference between this Celtics team and this Miami team, it is extraordinarily steep.
Indeed it is. Indeed it is. And we are going to a Game 6 Saturday night, South Beach, Miami, 8:30 Eastern. Will Miami be able to finish the deal where Boston continue to stave off elimination once more? Bill Reiter breaking down for us here on CBS Sports HQ. Bill, thanks.